This is Chief Warrant Officer 4 Vic Pinion, U.S. Navy retired, telling some stories of my naval career. Well, this one is part 3 of my point paper, which I titled Consequences of Accepting Mediocrity. Well, I left you at the end of part 2 with the vent filter was missing from the vent system that served this launch valve, which allowed it, this launch valve room, which allowed it and the surrounding space to become so hot that a radiator, a heating radiator for the wintertime, was plugged up so thick with debris, at least a foot thick, that no air could possibly throw through that vent. Well, the catapult crew, for generations of catapult crews, they had periodically called a trouble call with the engineering department because the vent didn't work. Who would typically send up a junior electrician to check it out electrically, who would read it out through the control panel and not find anything wrong with it electrically. The vent motor ran fine, and he would report that to his supervisors, and they would call up, okay, nothing wrong with it electrically. But then the cat crew, cat chief, cat captain, console operator, the maintenance officer, the catapult officer, none of those people, CAFSU representatives, aircraft handling team for coming over a pack, none of those people troubleshot that vent system to find out why it didn't work, even after the accident occurred and that heat in that room had been identified as a contributing factor to the failed electronic components. Nobody, until I personally did it after I reported board, had troubleshot that vent system to see why it wasn't cooling that space. The heat in that space was accepted by the catapult crew and their supervisors and all the people I just named. It was just simply accepted. And it contributed to the decision to continue to use the catapult to launch aircraft in a normal mode instead of switching to an alternate safe operating mode. The Commodore Pack Aircraft Handling Assistance Team and the CAFSU reps failed to take notice of the situation and assist with correcting it. There's some high grounds in readings in the CAT control circuit and jury rigging. The persistent situation of grounds in the control circuits contributed to jury rigging by bypassing safety switches and systems, by jumping them out on control panels with jumper wires. I discovered that shortly after I reported board. It made the hair stand up on my head. Lordy mercy, how dangerous those catapults were to use. And it had been there for years and years, and just getting worse and worse. And those jury rigs not being corrected. And it wasn't just the catapults. The arresting gear had the same problems. This acceptance of jury rigging and constant electrical problems was common and contributed to additional problems. The catapult electrician was poorly trained and supervised. Frequent failures of the capacitor selector valve box. Accepting the situation as normal and simply fixing it without investigating to determine why. Generations of CAT crews and supervisors and CAFSU reps accepted this situation. Generations of Commodore Pack Aircraft Handling Assistance Teams accepted this situation without investigating to learn its causes nor redesign effort. A low corporate knowledge factor. The split tour situation contributed to the low corporate knowledge factor because the first half of the sea duty tour was served aboard the Midway. An example is my 2 predecessors in the maintenance officer job only served 1 year aboard each, and neither one of them really took charge and created the infrastructure, the maintenance management infrastructure needed to safely do the maintenance on those catapults for the rest of the year. By the time they had developed knowledge and experience enough to be most effective, they would transfer away and be replaced by a new guy without even as much corporate knowledge as they had gained. Insufficient maintenance management programs, infrastructure. B2 Division Maintenance Office was ineffective at providing supportive maintenance management infrastructure. There was no technical publications library for B2 Division other than a few partial and or outdated and uncontrolled handbooks. No blueprints, although there were some old blueprints in a void behind the maintenance office that had been wet and were all wrinkled up and destroyed. No blueprint reader printer to read blueprints with. No organized divisional supply organization. No maintenance control organization. No daily maintenance coordination or interface by the maintenance officer or office. That's so serious. That was my analysis of that now. No quality assurance system. No tool room nor tool control system. No maintenance admin staff. Lordy mercy. And I'm there in a very hostile environment. Macho attitudes and loss of NAVAIR mainstream management. Many years previously, naval aircraft maintenance was really bad during the 1950s decade after they introduced jet aircraft on aircraft carriers. It was so serious that, according to my research, the Navy was working on, if they couldn't solve the maintenance problems with the serious aircraft accidents caused by poor maintenance, they were going to have to take jets off aircraft carriers. They did come up with a maintenance management program called the NAMP, the Naval Aircraft Maintenance Program, which, back up just a little bit, as they were developing the NAMP, it was decided to exempt catapults and resting gear from the NAMP under our cognizant with Naval Air Systems Command, and aircraft maintenance were under the cognizance of Naval Air Systems Command. So was catapults and resting gear. But they exempted us from it. And this caused a loss of mainstream management support, which enabled a multitude of problems for catapults and resting gear for many years. Poor supply support. The NAMP created mainstream set of management programs and better supply support, and they formed the ASO, Aviation Supply Office, big base in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to provide all of the supply parts that naval aircraft maintenance, everything under naval air cognizance needed. The loss of office spaces, supply rooms, tool rooms, lounges, ready service lockers from V2 Division. They took V6 Division, which was a maintenance support division of the Air Department. They disestablished it and used its personnel and resources to form the Aviation Intermediate Maintenance Department, a separate department from the Air Department, in support of aircraft maintenance. Well, we were exempted from that, and they had provided tool rooms, supply support, shops, maintenance, specialty maintenance shops, and so forth. Well, that ended. They had also managed our Tech Pub Library. That ended. Okay, this is the end of part 3. I will continue with part 4 in the next segment.